Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' worldwide PDA tour is backfiring, just as Marvel is now getting desperate trying to avoid sending Justin Baldoni all the nice pool details.
Ryan Reynolds has made a career out of being the sarcastic golden boy of Hollywood, the guy who could roast you, charm you, and sell you a cell phone plan in the same sentence. But now, that carefully crafted persona is unraveling faster than a Marvel Phase 4 plotline. The man who once broke the fourth wall with a wink is now face-planting into one built entirely out of court subpoenas, PR disasters, and a social media fallout that even his signature smirk can't spin. At the center of the chaos, a lawsuit so messy it's dragging in Marvel Studios, his wife Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, and somehow even Taylor Swift. And while Marvel tries to dodge subpoenas like CGI explosions, Reynolds is spiraling like a side character who still thinks he's the lead. He's being accused of using his Deadpool clout to take personal shots at Baldoni through a character named Nice Pool, a name that's anything but subtle. And if you thought that was the worst of it, think again. Reynolds isn't just under fire for alleged professional pettiness. His personal life is now the real headline. He and Blake Lively are flooding red carpets with awkward kisses and forced giggles, desperately trying to convince the world everything's fine. But it's not, because behind the staged smiles and curated photo ops, there's a storm brewing. And for the first time in his career, Ryan Reynolds isn't in control of the script. So here's where things start getting legally delicious. According to court filings, Justin Baldoni believes that Ryan Reynolds used Marvel's billion-dollar playground as a petty stage for personal revenge. The character in question? A shady, sarcastic background figure in Deadpool and Wolverine named Nice Pool. Cute, right? Except Baldoni's legal team doesn't think it's so funny. They're alleging that this wasn't just an Easter egg. It was a full-blown dig meant to publicly humiliate their client. Now, Baldoni wants answers. He's subpoenaed Marvel Studios for any and all communications involving the characters' creation. But instead of cooperating, Marvel clammed up faster than a spoiled Disney sequel. Their official stance: that the materials requested are too sensitive to be released. Sensitive? The guy was a background joke who died in the first act. We're not talking about Thanos' return. We're talking about an alleged personal attack hidden in plain sight. Marvel's refusal to hand over documents is raising eyebrows, and not the excited kind. Legal experts are already hinting that the studio might be protecting more than just IP. Because if Reynolds really did use Deadpool to settle a score, this isn't just shady, it's corporate sabotage disguised as comedy. And it might just blow open how much power our one actor can wield inside a billion-dollar franchise. But Blake Lively wasn't about to let her husband hog the spotlight. While Ryan's legal battles are heating up, Blake Lively is busy setting the red carpet on fire, just not in the way she intended. Once hailed as Hollywood's ultimate fashion darling, Blake is now being accused of dragging Marvel Studios into what fans are calling glitter-glazed chaos. And it all started with what was supposed to be a harmless PR moment. At a Time 100 gala, Blake and Ryan strolled in like royalty. Coordinated outfits, hand-on-chest poses, smirks perfectly timed for the cameras. But something felt off. Lip readers on TikTok started zooming in on a moment where Blake allegedly ordered Ryan to kiss her before her speech, like a director calling action. The clip exploded online. Suddenly, the couple's red carpet affection wasn't adorable, it was scripted. And once that narrative took hold, every public appearance became a forensic crime scene. Whispered conversations? Fake. Giggles? Rehearsed. The PDA wasn't romantic, it was desperate. Then came the wardrobe malfunction, heard around the internet. Blake showed up at a major event with visible armpit stains from self-tanner. Normally, that'd be a minor blip. Celebrities are human, too. But in the middle of a PR meltdown, it was blood in the water. Commentators called it the perfect metaphor for her unraveling public image, polished on the surface, but messy just beneath. Even People magazine, usually a safe space for celeb fluff, ran a story saying Blake was focusing on family. But photos from the same week showed her everywhere except with her kids. Gala events, soccer games in Wales, red carpets, she was everywhere the cameras were. The internet took note. If she was focusing on her family, where were they? Fans began questioning if the whole devoted mom image was just another layer of PR gloss. Worse, this damage control tour didn't just make Blake look inauthentic, it dragged Marvel deeper into the fire. Marvel Studios, famously secretive, now found themselves being mocked for letting Blake Lively's staged photo ops blow holes in their fortress of confidentiality. And for a studio that once kept Avengers, Endgame under wraps, getting exposed by a red carpet moment was humiliating. But this wasn't just about image anymore, because what happened next didn't just rattle fans, it broke the internet. What started as red carpet PDA quickly spiraled into a full-blown public relations crisis the moment TikTok lip readers entered the chat. At first glance, Blake and Ryan looked like your typical power couple, laughing, whispering sweet nothings, sharing affectionate glances. But a viral clip from a high-profile event told a different story. One slowed-down video revealed Blake, mid-smile, apparently instructing Ryan to kiss her, right before she took the mic. It was quick, but unmistakable. The gesture looked less like affection and more like direction. The internet had seen enough. In 2025, audiences are savvier than ever. They know when a moment is genuine and when it's manufactured. And this, it reeked of rehearsed intimacy. Overnight, headlines started calling it the kiss command. Reddit threads lit up with frame-by-frame breakdowns. TikTok creators began crafting full exposés, complete with subtitles, voiceovers, and expert body language analysis. Suddenly, Blake and Ryan weren't not-on-source couple goals. They were a glitching simulation of one. Even their fans couldn't defend it. When the same people who once flooded comment sections with heart emojis start posting, "This feels fake," it's game over. What made it worse? Every new attempt at damage control only added fuel to the fire. Whispered exchanges during interviews looked staged, forced smiles came off as tense. A photo of Blake placing her hand dramatically on Ryan's cheek became memes material. The narrative was no longer, "Look how in love they are." It was, "How bad are they faking this?" And the backlash didn't stop at online mockery. PR experts chimed in, calling the couple's flood the market approach a textbook example of how not to handle a scandal. Kara Shimmerman, a crisis response strategist, even went on record saying their tactics were a walking billboard of desperation. The public agreed. Every red carpet appearance, every Instagram post, every carefully staged shot felt like a last-ditch effort to drown out a bigger truth. The kiss that was supposed to silence rumors did the opposite. It amplified them. And while the couple was busy posing for cameras, the internet was doing what it does best, digging deeper. Because this wasn't just about one awkward moment anymore. It was about the unraveling of an image, and just when the backlash seemed like it couldn't get any worse, someone hit the unfollow button. And not just anyone. In an era where one unfollow can speak louder than a press release, Travis Kelce's quiet click shook the internet harder than a stadium touchdown. On April 28, 2025, fans noticed something strange. Ryan Reynolds, the man of 1,000 smirks, had just been digitally ghosted by none other than NFL superstar and Taylor Swift's headline-dominating boyfriend, Travis Kelce. No context, no cryptic tweet. Just a silent, surgical unfollow. In Hollywood terms, that's not just a message, it's a declaration. And Ryan, he still follows Travis, which makes it even more painful. The image of Reynolds, still clinging to the illusion of friendship while Kelce walks away, sent the internet into overdrive. This isn't just awkward, one post read, it's desperate. Another simply said, oof, that's cold. But the reasoning behind the move? That's where things get messy. Insiders say Travis had enough. Rumors had been circulating that Taylor Swift, yes, that Taylor Swift, was being dragged into the legal drama surrounding Ryan and Blake. Allegedly, Ryan had been putting quiet pressure on her behind the scenes, connected to the subpoenas flying around the nice pool controversy. Blake, Taylor's longtime friend, was allegedly trying to leverage that relationship to keep Taylor in their corner. But Travis wasn't having it. The moment it became clear that Taylor could be called into this escalating legal circus, Travis hit the brakes. No public statement, no back and forth, just an unfollow that screamed, "We're done." According to sources close to the couple, Kelce didn't want Taylor's name tied to any of this drama. He wasn't about to sit back and let her be dragged into court because of someone else's pettiness and PR war. Even more damning, Travis's move sparked a flood of support from fans and fellow celebrities who had also grown weary of the Reynolds lively brand circus. People began to notice a pattern. One by one, former allies, colleagues, and friends of the couple were quietly stepping away. And while Ryan may have built a career off being the relatable everyman, it was clear the people closest to the situation didn't buy the act anymore. Some even speculated that Travis's unfollow was a favor to Taylor to save her from taking a public stance against Blake. And in a world where most celebrities will cling to relationships for optics, Kelce's move was refreshingly blunt. No shade, no cryptic memes. Just a clean, cold cut. It wasn't petty, it was principled. But if you thought a silent social media breakup was the peak of this saga, think again. Because the very next public appearance from Ryan and Blake would be their most disastrous yet. If there's one thing Blake and Ryan have always done well, it's perform. But lately, their public appearances have started to look less like Hollywood charm and more like a slow-motion collapse on a red carpet loop. Everywhere they go, the vibe is off. Every smile looks strained. Every whisper reads like a damage. Control meeting disguised as flirtation. The once-envied couple now feels like two co-stars stuck in a PR nightmare they can't improvise their way out of. Their recent appearances have been branded by fans and commentators alike as glitching. And honestly, it fits. Ryan stands stiff with a foggy stare, while Blake clutches his arm like she's keeping him from wandering off set. TikTok users have analyzed every micro-expression, every hand placement, every awkward shuffle. And the findings aren't flattering. Blake often looks annoyed. Ryan looks lost. One moment went viral after he accidentally stepped on her dress multiple times. A mistake anyone could make, but paired with the context, it came off like a man who didn't want to be there, who didn't know where to stand anymore. Then came the red carpet at another Simple Favors premiere, now dubbed by fans as the scene of the crime. Ryan showed up looking dazed, unsteady, and borderline buzzed. Commenters described him as having pre-gamed with gin and NyQuil, while Blake seemed to be dragging him around like a reluctant prop. A body language expert told Daily Mail that their energy screamed staged intimacy with underlying tension. Translation: they looked like strangers cosplaying as a married couple, clinging to the last thread of a storyline nobody was buying. Meanwhile, media outlets continued pushing the Blake is focusing on family narrative. Even as she attended 3 red carpets in 1 week, flew across the Atlantic multiple times, and managed 0 public appearances with her kids. Fans noticed. The illusion of the devoted mother and loyal wife started crumbling under the weight of too many contradictions. What made it worse was the internet's shift from curiosity to exhaustion. People weren't just skeptical, they were done pretending. What once passed for charming now felt fake. The red carpet strategy, kiss, whisper, pose, repeat, looked like a broken loop stuck in crisis mode, and no amount of rehearsed PDA could distract from what was happening behind the scenes. The public was no longer watching for romance. They were watching for cracks, and cracks were everywhere. At first glance, Blake and Ryan's recent public appearances might seem like business as usual. Smiles, hand-holding, designer outfits, the works. But look a little closer, and the illusion starts to crack. What was once seen as effortless chemistry has turned stiff and awkward. Every red carpet moment feels rehearsed, like they're reciting lines from a script they no longer believe in. Fans aren't swooning, they're cringing. Take their latest outing at Another Simple Favors premiere. Ryan showed up looking completely out of it. Glassy-eyed, uneven posture, like he pre-gamed with something stronger than water. Blake, on the other hand, was all business. She led him by the hand, repositioned him for cameras, whispered instructions like a stage manager, trying to salvage a botched performance. At one point, he stepped on her dress. Not once, but multiple times. The internet ate it up. Clips circulated within hours, with TikTok calling it a glitching PR simulation. Even their signature red carpet pose, faces close, murmuring sweet nothings, came under fire. Lip readers once again entered the chat, interpreting the exchanges as less affectionate and more controlling. Blake looked irritated. Ryan looked checked out. And fans, they were over it. The carefully curated image was unraveling, one awkward whisper at a time. And this wasn't just a bad photo op. It was a signal. The brand was breaking. For years, Ryan Reynolds' charm was his superpower. The quippy, self-aware guy who could deflect any tough question with a joke and somehow come out even more likable. But now, that same humor is starting to work against him. Take his recent Sky Sports interview, for example. The host asked a pretty straightforward question. Did he have any regrets? And instead of offering something meaningful, Ryan went full sarcasm. Yeah, buying a boat. At first, it seemed harmless, just another Reynolds one-liner. But fans quickly realized it was a direct jab at Saturday Night Live's Colin Jost, Scarlett Johansson's husband, who had recently said in an interview that his biggest regret was buying a boat. It wasn't witty, it was bitter. The internet instantly clocked it for what it was. A petty dig disguised as a punchline. People began asking, why is Ryan using his soccer team's press coverage to throw shade at another celebrity, one who wasn't even part of this drama? The answer felt obvious. Deflection. While lawsuits circle and friendships collapse, Ryan's trying to distract with jokes. But this time, no one's laughing. Instead of charming the public, he's coming off calculated, insecure, and defensive. This wasn't just a misstep. It was a signal that even Ryan's most reliable weapon, his humor, is starting to misfire. And the backlash? It's not just from fans. Hollywood is noticing too. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively once seemed untouchable. Hollywood's golden couple who mixed style, sarcasm, and family charm into one perfect brand. But now, that brand is in freefall. What began as whispers of PR awkwardness has exploded into legal battles, broken friendships, and a full-blown trust collapse with their own fanbase. The people who used to root for them are now watching like it's reality TV, with popcorn in one hand and receipts in the other. Even their closest allies are reportedly distancing themselves. Former co-stars, publicists, and industry insiders are going radio silent. Why? Because no one wants to get caught in the crossfire. Rumors are swirling that even Anna Kendrick, who worked with Blake, could get subpoenaed just by proximity. That's how messy this has become. One couple's downfall is threatening to drag half of Hollywood into the courtroom. Meanwhile, the internet is picking apart every red carpet moment, every interview, every grainy behind-the-scenes clip, and the verdict is unanimous. The performances feel off, like two actors stuck in a role they can't get out of. The whispered exchanges, the stiff smiles, the staged kisses. It's all being reinterpreted not as affection, but as evidence. And, through it all, the irony couldn't be sharper. This was the couple who built an empire on being relatable. Now they're symbols of exactly what they used to mock: performative, out of touch, and collapsing under the weight of their own brand.